Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute privilege to welcome on stage a woman I've known for so many years now and whom I deeply admire. A woman who has redefined what it means to build and empower from the grassroots. Chetna Gala Sinha, founder of the Mann Deshi Foundation and the Mann Deshi Bank. So from Mumbai to Mashwad, a small drought-prone village she moved to in 1997, she founded India's first rural bank for women, run by and for women, when financial institutions refused to trust women with loans. Now, Mann Deshi Foundation serves over 1 million women and engages in widespread community development. They have a business school on wheels, they have a sports for development program, healthcare for all, and so much more. So our theme today is Roots to Rise, Skills, Innovation, Inclusion, and Capital. So it's a reminder that deep roots in community and culture can give rise to innovation, resilience, and transformative change. And who better to speak on this than Chetna, who has spent more than 3 decades ensuring that rural women have a voice, that rural women thrive. Thank you so much, Chetna, for being part of this conversation. So let's begin at the very beginning. So, Chetna, what did you see in rural women that convinced you that they could be powerful change makers if given the right tools?
So, thank you, Dipti, for inviting me to share my experiences. And Rekha, it is interesting, about rural women you are asking. I actually was born and raised in Mumbai, as you mentioned. And when I was very young, I got into a Gandhian organization and was appealed, Jayaprakash Narayan appealed the young people to work in the villages of India. I was very fascinated with this idea and I decided and I left Mumbai and started working in the villages. And you know what? This is in Maswad village in Satara district, a drought-prone area. When I went there, I saw women are working as a wage laborer 3 decades before and breaking stones. It was very these women who are breaking stone, selling fruits on the street, doing business on the street. And one of the women, Kantabai, she came to me and she said that I want to do savings. My obvious question to her was that you are staying on the street and do you have money to save? And she was insistent. She said, I want to do saving because I want to buy a tarpaulin sheet. I don't have a house. My family stays on the street. So I went to the banks and banks are not opening the account. And I felt she's not asking for money. She's not asking for loan. She's asking for a safe place to save. So I thought, if banks are not opening the account, why not start the bank? And we applied for the banking license. But majority of our women had a thumb impression. And on that ground, Reserve Bank officer denied issuing the license, saying that we cannot issue a license to the bank whose promoting members are non-literate. We were devastated. But when I came and I told our women, they were not. They said, so what? We will learn to read and write. After 5 months, our literacy classes started on that day. And after 5 months, we went again to the Reserve Bank of India. But I didn't go alone. With me, these 15 women, they came with me to Mumbai. And they said, we cannot read and write, but we can count. And they challenged the officers saying that ask us to calculate the interest of any principal amount. If we fail, don't issue the license. But tell your officers to do it without calculator and see who can calculate faster. Needless to say, we got the banking license. So these are the change makers.
So what a wonderful story, how one intervention creates a ripple effect. And that ripple effect is for all to see. 1 million women. Kudos. A big round of applause to that.
Done.
So we often think, Chetna, that innovation happens in labs and startups. So what is a rural innovation by a Mann Deshi woman that has amazed you? Can you share that with us, please?
Yeah, thank you. So we often think, and as I mentioned, that we talk about the rural India, we talk about the rural women, we think, of course, they never got an opportunity for the education. But now they have a very different opportunity. And one incident I would like to share, which I was really amazed, we have in our business school for rural women, we have a program of PRana, where these women who are goat doctors, Pashu Shakhi, they go into the villages and provide vaccination and insemination to the animals or goats and buffaloes. During COVID, these animal markets were closed. You know what a goat Sakhi did? They started the animal market. They created a WhatsApp group of women who are rearing cattle. And they started the animal market on a WhatsApp group so that women can buy and sell animal on WhatsApp. And it became so popular that we have weekly hearts where women sell vegetables. So these women then set up the WhatsApp group of street vendors. And during COVID, when weekly market were not taking place, these women were selling vegetables also. And not only that, having markets on WhatsApp group, these women are no computer engineers, but they found out. But even digital payments were done that. And so women who are selling vegetables were also doing digital payments. And they told bank that we want not only PIN number, but we also want a thumb impression to operate our digital wallet. And we said, why? And you know what they said? कि मेरा PIN number तो कोई भी चुरा लेगा, लेकिन मेरा अंगूठा कोई नहीं लेगा. So the whole thing was that it's not just access, but control on finance, creation of wealth. That amazed me a lot. Thank you.
Wonderful. So what some people can term as frugal innovations can actually inspire even Silicon Valley models. So on the flip side, Chetna ji, do you believe that rural innovation, such as the ones which have happened at Mann Deshi, is romanticized but not properly capitalized or scaled?
You are so right, Rekha. When we talk about rural women and we talk about rural India, everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody likes it also, right? Life is at peace. It's not like in the big city like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. Everybody do that. But nobody wants to stay there. And sometimes I feel that somewhere we are exploiting the rural population. That we really like it, but we don't capitalize it. And when I say that, what I mean is that, you go to the villages and you see the farmer women, where we are working with the women farmers, they are using weather stations, right? And they have not gone to the school. But when they are growing pomegranate, anar, they want to know that, is it going to rain? And how would they know it? So they have installed the weather station. But the pathetic part is that from the supply side, from the companies are not ready to come there. They want to sell the product, but they don't want to give the services because otherwise they will have to stay there. So I do feel that if you want to do rural innovation, it is so important that understand rural India, listen to the people, and sometimes spend time with them and stay there. If we stay there, then the life will change.
Absolutely. You started Mann Deshi in 1997. It's 2025 now, around 30 years and above. Still, women face barriers, social, cultural, market-driven. How can we break them, Chetna? How can we move these women forward?
Rekha, let me tell you that when we talk about the barriers which women face, let me share with you a story. We sometimes don't even realize that what are the social cultural barriers. The story of Nakusa. This is a lady, Nakusa, who actually took a loan from the bank. But before I talk about that loan, which she took from Mann Deshi Bank, I would say that when she came to the bank and she said, my name is Nakusa. And I said, I had never heard that name. So I just asked her that, I've not heard the name, why it is Nakusa. And she said that Nakusa means unwanted. I am unwanted daughter of my father. Now, can you imagine? These are the barriers which we cannot even imagine in the big cities. And she was fifth daughter of a father, and father kicked out her mother because she was producing daughter. So she didn't have a place to stay. She was moving from here and there. So these are the social barriers which they have. But in that situation also, one thing which I saw what Nakusa had was that she was doing a job of digging well. And she said, I want to take loan to buy a property that I was unwanted daughter, but today I will have my name on the property. And she took the loan of 60,000 rupees. She bought the plot of land and had her name. So when I say that there are so many barriers in the villages, but the important part is that how much ecosystem are we creating? If this bank would not have been there, she wouldn't have been able to buy the land. And today when she's bought the land, but there are people who are appreciating Nakusa as a role model. They are inviting her. So I say that there are a lot of barriers, but it is also important that in middle of all these barriers, if we have such powerful narrative, we can think of them as a role model.
Wonderful. What a powerful story of Nakusa. We spoke about societal barriers. We spoke about mindsets. But capital still remains the biggest hurdle, Chetna. So how has the Mann Deshi model evolved over these years when it comes to scaling, raising capital, and helping these women become financially secure? Not just stop at one intervention, not just stop at one aspect of their lives, but to take them through, to allow them to grow over this period of time. Also, can you give an example?
Sure. So we just heard from Manish, right, that there are only 28,000 companies who have a capital of more than 10 crore in India, right? Now the question would be that out of 28,000, how many companies are owned by women? I don't think even one also. So the access to capital for women-owned enterprise is such a big challenge. And I would like to share one of the story of Lakshmi Bai. She runs the dal mill, which means she makes dal from the pulses. And she wanted to start this business and she went to the banks. Every bank denied her giving a loan. You know why? Because she didn't have collateral. No collateral, no loans. Then whatever gold she had, she mortgaged the gold and she bought the machinery and she started producing dal. Lady Lakshmi Bai, she didn't have, nobody, all the banks denied him a loan, but she bought the machinery, she learned how to. So for women, everything starts from no. No loans because no collateral. Then she went to buy a machinery where she can make dal mill. So she went to buy a dal mill. That vendor said that bring your husband, you won't be able to do it. So because she won't be able to operate the machine, which she said that I am making dal. Then so she convinced him and then she started a business. And I'm so proud to share with you that today she is producing 600 kgs of dal daily and she has given jobs to other 5 women. So these women are creating jobs. So if they get an access to capital, the job creation can be done 5 times if women own the enterprise. We are talking about gender gap and we say that it will take 135 years to close the gender gap. But Rekha, I feel that do we want to wait for 135 years? No, right? So women like Lakshmi Bai should get an access to capital.
Absolutely. So whenever I meet Chetna or I speak to her, she's full of so many stories. I can listen to her all day long. And Chetna has often said that women's stories are their most powerful asset. And we've seen this in the conversation so far. So Chetna, how do you see storytelling to the wider world, public relations, acting as a strategic lever for movements like Mann Deshi?
See, actually, how would you know Bharat? I feel it is so important. We are sitting here in Delhi at Taj Palace. But India is so diverse. And if you want to know India, and if you want to know rural India, Bharat, the best part is that listening to the stories of women. I would also like to share one story very briefly, that one of the women, she came to our bank and she mortgaged gold and she was taking loan. I asked her, why are you mortgaging gold? She said, there is such a bad drought. There is no water, no fodder. I am mortgaging gold to buy a fodder for my animal. But there is no water. Even if I mortgage gold, I won't be able to give water to my animal. So what she was, and then she challenged me that in search of water, if we move around, move away from the village, with whom are you going to do banking? This lady was Kerabai. And then I thought we should work in water, and we started working in water. But this lady Kerabai, during drought, she sings songs to give hopes to the farmer. We have radio, and this radio is operated by all women. I would just appeal you, come and visit us and see how these women who have never been to the school are also operating radio. Kerabai started singing songs on the radio to give hopes to the farmer. And she became a very famous radio jockey. And this radio jockey, her story was written by son of Anand Bakshi, who is a Bollywood songwriter. He wrote a book on Kerabai, R.J. Kerabai, radio jockey Kerabai. So if these stories are narrated in big cities, and you know what happened after that? We got so many interns from St. Xavier's College to work with us, and now some of them are staff with us. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's a ripple effect in another direction, one which we really need. So, on the same note, how important, Chetna, is reputation management, not just for Mann Deshi as an institution, but for the women you work with, to be seen as credible entrepreneurs and leaders?
You know, one thing I would just like to say, that if we are thinking so much of reputation, we should not be in hurry in scale. Reputation does not come in hurry. It takes time. It takes time to build reputation, but it doesn't take time to come down or bring down the reputation. So I do feel like, you know, when we started Mann Deshi, it was actually the whole thing of trust, right? And I see that Akasha CEO said that even a young person should come after 20 years and say that I would like to be like you. And for this reputation, I would like to share that how does reputation comes? That today at Mann Deshi, I mean, we get girls who come to Mann Deshi and they say that, you know, we want to buy a bicycle and we are ready to take loan for the bicycle, and from our pocket money, we will repay the loan. Why bicycle? Because we want to go to high school, and high school is not in our village. It is far. And if we don't get a bicycle, our parents will drop me out of the school. So these girls get bicycle. Not only that, but after getting bicycle, they become a good athlete. And I'm so proud to share with you that one of the girl, Kajal, she got the bicycle, she became a good athlete, and she played for India in field hockey and went to Iceland and got a silver medal. So here I would say, like, you know, reputation is not just individual reputation. It is a reputation of institution, reputation of community, and reputation for next generation.
So it exemplifies that when women rise, communities rise with them. And when we strengthen the roots, the rise is unstoppable. So you've been at this, Chetna, for almost 30 years. What is it that keeps you going?
What is it that keeps me going? The one thing which I always feel myself as a lucky person is that I am surrounded by so many hundreds and thousands of women farmers, women street vendors, these young girls who ride on bicycle and go to the school. They don't have a cars to drop. But I would just remember that when I was co-chairing Davos at World Economic Forum in 2018, and when I was invited to co-chair Davos, I actually felt that, you know, what am I going to do that? Because there are CEOs and global CEOs. So I felt I should go to women and ask them that, what am I going to talk about there? You know what our women said? They said that, in Davos, people must be talking about billions and trillions, right, of capital. These women told me that go and tell them that you may talk about billions and trillions of capital, but for us, our courage is the capital. And I would say that to get me rooted, their courage is my capital. And I have learned from these women, which has always kept me rooted, is that they have always told me two things. One is, never give poor solutions to poor people. They are smart. The second is that my courage is the capital. Thank you.
That's so wonderful. So let's close with this thought that when women are trusted with capital, when women are included in decision making, they not only rise for themselves, but for their families and communities. Thank you so much, Chetna, for this wonderful conversation. And I'm sure everyone in this room has been inspired by what she shared today. And more power to you and the women with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.